All right, we are back with another addition to the OnForm category this weekend. So it was an amazing round of results, amazing round of fixtures. I think this is peak Premier League that we got right now. I just got done watching the Liverpool game. As a Liverpool fan, I can't help but to be extremely happy with these results. This performance against Newcastle are performances that make champions. It's just that simple. Faced with a ton of adversity, your star player missing a bunch of penalties, or missing a penalty, and then the player that you're hoping who takes the crown from that star player, Nunez, missing a bunch of chances. It's easy for a team to get disheartened when they see all of these chances go begging and they don't hit the back of the net. But that didn't happen with this Liverpool side. If anything, it spurred them on and made them want to perform even better. Coming out in that second half, they came out even more possessed than they were in that first half. The first 15 minutes was so intense. Everything was just high flying, high intensity, high pace. And I think Liverpool just throttled them, just throttled Newcastle in this game. And their pace and their intensity overwhelmed the Newcastle backline. And we'll talk about Newcastle in a little bit, but they're number one in our OnForm category. Liverpool is. You would think that Salah would want to step down and step back after taking a penalty and it getting blocked, but no, he steps back up, he bags the second goal, and then he does the Cristiano Ronaldo celebration, which is pretty awesome. But Nunez is something that I think Liverpool are going to have to address eventually, but not right now, right? I don't know the official stats, but I counted like 7 or 8 good misses from him. And you'd have to think if Nunez puts 20 or 30% of those in the back of the net, the game is over within the first half, right? But keep in mind, he comes on in that second half and he bags an assist, which brings his goal assist total for this season up to 11 in 19 matches, or it's either 11 in 19 matches or 12 in 20 matches. You guys have to fact check me on that, which is more, regardless of what number it is, it's more than his last season total combined for the entire season. And we're just hitting the halfway mark. This is a really good sign. So if you look at it, if he stays at the same pace, he's going to end the season with 22 goal contributions in 40 matches. That's world-class level. I know he's not bagging as many goals as Haaland or even Salah, but what he does, it can't go unnoticed. And I think as a Liverpool fan and Liverpool supporters, they need to stand behind Nunez in this moment, because he's actually probably one of the reasons why we're even in this position. We'd probably be further if he bagged more goals, but he's the reason why we're at the top of the league. Him with Salah and, of course, Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's been, in my personal opinion, the player of the season for Liverpool. Okay, so the question begs, wrapping up on them, is what's going to happen when Salah and Endo go and do international duty starting next week? What's going to happen? Well, that answer is Diogo Jota literally coming back and being in basically the form of his life. Amazing assist that he had today and got that penalty. Whether you believe it's a penalty or not, it really does not matter. But he's back, he's there, he's firing, and they also have Curtis Jones stepping up in the midfield, who also can play in that number 6 role. He was amazing today. He was probably my man of the match, actually. Quietly gained a man of the match for me. Number 2, Manchester City. What can you say about Manchester City? City are still City. I know Pep came out with that quote that says, right now Liverpool are better because they're in first place, but I truly don't even believe he even thinks that. He knows how good his side is. He knows how good he is. He's probably the greatest tactical manager to ever play the game or to ever coach the game. And I don't think very many people will disagree with that. He finds a way to tactically outmaster, outposition, outplay every single manager that he plays, barring Jurgen Klopp on occasion, right? But it's hard to deny this team. You got Phil Foden playing the best football of his life. Rodri is a tank. What more would you want from this team? Probably an android who's in front of goal, who bags a goal every time he touches it, and a midfielder who has eyes in the back of his head that can put the ball on a thumbtack from 50 yards away. Oh, wait, they do have that in KDB and Erling Haaland, who will be back this month. So, like I said last week, I think you can start cueing the boss music, and Liverpool are going to be in for a very, very long season trying to hold that Manchester City back. I think they can do it, but I think it's going to be a really tall task for them, seriously. So, number 3 in our OnForm category is West Ham. I don't think anybody would have predicted that West Ham would be the only team to get max points out of their holiday fixtures, but they've done it. David Moyes masterclasses week after week after week. I personally thought he was a through manager after that Manchester United stint. I think they are going to get past this Brighton side tomorrow. They're very streaky. Brighton is a good side and very well coached, but I think Brighton is a little bit too streaky. They win 3-0, they win 4-0, and then they lose 3 or 4-0. So I think West Ham's consistency, I think their defense is going to see them through that game, and I think they will go through this Christmas period perfect, right? So huge back-to-back wins, a win over Manchester United, a win over Arsenal, and I think this will put the bow on top of the present for West Ham and their fans. They're a very good side. Don't be surprised if you see them in that top 4 spot come the end of this season. I think they have the skill, they have the team, and they have the quality to be a top 4 player. I don't know about Lucas Paqueta. I don't know how bad his injury was from last week. If I haven't really looked it up or anything like that, somebody tell me. Let me know if Lucas Paqueta is back in the team. But he has been a super important figure for them. Him, Jared Bowen, and Mohamed Kudus, who I gave a shout out to last week. I think he's one of their unsung heroes. He's a very, very good player. And if any of the top teams were smart, they'd be looking at him and going after him within the next year or 2 years as a right wing option if any of them need him. I think Liverpool would actually be a really good option for Mohamed Kudus going forward if that ever happened. But I digress. So let's go into the who's out of form category. I think everybody knows this. If you watch any of my shorts, it's Arsenal, right? So they haven't had a win since Luton Town, right? And they haven't had a convincing win since the Sheffield United game. I want to say that's about a month ago. For them to get 1 point out of their Christmas fixtures is very, very disappointing if you're an Arsenal fan. For a team that was literally vying for the title last year up until essentially the last week, to dropping so many points in a span of a week and a half, you have to be really, really disappointed. And you have to be thinking, what's going on? Where is this happening? Where is this going, right? Jamie Carragher made a really good point when I was watching the game today. Is like, what's happening with Arsenal? Why is Liverpool moving forward and Arsenal is kind of on the slide right now? And he made a comment that Arsenal don't have a coach that has won anything before. And I think that in itself makes a huge difference. Having an experienced coach that knows what it looks like to go on a run, that knows what it looks like to win a championship, a Champions League, an FA Cup, whatever it might be, right? Having that experience. And you're seeing that with Aston Villa, right? With Unai Emery, who's won so many Europa Leagues. He's won a bunch of trophies over in Spain and even had a stint in Arsenal. He's an experienced manager. Then you look at Arteta, where this is really his first big job. Is he ready to take a really young team in Arsenal to the top? I don't know, right? So they have to find a way to get goals in these games, like the one that just happened, like the previous game against West Ham, like the game against Liverpool that ended up drawing 1-1. These 3 or 4 games, they need to find ways to find goals and secure goals. They need that superstar player that can pop up with a magic and win a game for them. They don't have that. I was watching another video and they were like, is Saka that guy? Is Martinelli that guy? Does he strike fear into opposition when they get onto the field? Do any of those players do Gabriel Jesus? They're good players, but I don't think opposition is afraid of them. I don't think opposition are scared when they step onto the pitch. When Thierry Henry stepped onto the pitch when he played for Arsenal, defenders were terrified. They were terrified because they knew that Henry was a player that could go get 20 goals, 20 assists in one season, and that he could turn the game on the top of its head with one kick of the ball. I don't think that's the case for Saka, Martinelli, or Gabriel Jesus. I don't think Odegaard is that type of player either. He's an amazing player, but I don't think he's the type of player where he can pick the ball up and he can lace one from 20 yards out, 30 yards out, 40 yards out, or pop up with a tap in when needed. And I think that's what Arsenal's missing right now, right? Too much pressure is put on Gabriel. Too much pressure is put on Saliba to be the best that they can be, essentially, every single game to make sure Arsenal win. Number 2, Newcastle. I'm not sure what's going on with Newcastle. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on them. I don't like that team personally, but it's hard to even believe this team secured a top 4 spot last year. It's pretty clear that they're a team of average players with a lot of desire, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think every team needs a player like that. For us, we had Jordan Henderson for a long time and James Milner, who were, essentially amazing pros. When you get that compliment, like, oh, he's a great pro, that means that he wasn't the most skilled player, but he worked hard. He had a lot of desire, right? That's usually what people say. I think they have a team full of great pros. But in order to be a top 4 team and to win things and to qualify for Champions League, you need players that can produce magic. You need players like Kevin De Bruyne. You need players like Bernardo Silva. You need players like Mohamed Salah. You need players like Trent Alexander-Arnold. Newcastle does not have that. And they're trying to get something out of players that don't have that in them, in my personal opinion. And it perplexes me a little bit, mainly because they're a team with unlimited funds. They're owned by Saudi Arabia. Why is Eddie Howe not going out and getting these players that can produce on a week in, week out basis for them, or when they absolutely need it? I don't know. Same thing, right? So there's a quote that people say all the time that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, but when talent works hard, there's no chance. There's no chance for the hard worker with no talent, right? When talent decides to work hard, which is what we saw today, when Mohamed Salah decided that I'm not going to leave on international duty like this, penalty blocked, I'm going to get out there, and I'm going to put on my best performance. It's no contest, obviously, right? So they need to improve their team. They need a massive overhaul, in my personal opinion, in January and in the summer, and they need to start buying quality players. Isak is good, but not good enough, in my personal opinion. You guys can take that as you will. So, last one, Manchester United. When is Erik ten Hag going to be fired? And I seriously mean that. They responded well against Aston Villa, and at times in that game, it felt like they were gonna come back and win the game. But a lot of those moments were really fleeting, right? And when those moments weren't happening, it almost felt inevitable that Manchester United were going to lose that game, right? And the fact that Bruno Fernandes is your captain shows you everything you need to know about Erik ten Hag, about Manchester United, and where that team is going. Bruno Fernandes is not captain material. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you think. I don't care if you're a Manchester United fan till the day that you die. You 100% agree with that statement. Bruno Fernandes should not be Manchester United's captain. He just shouldn't, right? So it's poor leadership on and poor leadership off the pitch. So it's kind of crazy. It makes you think, how long are the Glazers are going to allow their team to go downhill like this, right? And I saw this stat about Andre Onana. He's already conceded 40 goals in 26 games. That is the most that a Premier League keeper has ever conceded in their first 26 games. So if you look at it this way, and I'm going to leave you guys with this and then we'll wrap up. If you look at it this way, Manchester United go into every game knowing for a fact they need to score at least 2 to 3 goals to stand a chance, because Andre Onana is conceding essentially 2 goals a game, at a minimum a goal a game. So that's not good, especially when your star forward, who's coming off a 30-goal season, right? Marcus Rashford has scored 4 goals all year. It's not looking good for Manchester United. And this is coming from a Liverpool fan. I actually am enjoying this downfall a lot, but it's really sad to see one of England's great teams go through a decline like this and nothing's really, being done about it. So that is our on-form teams and our out-of-form teams for the week. On form, we got Liverpool, Manchester City, and West Ham. And out of form, we got Arsenal, Newcastle, and Manchester United. We'll see you guys next week.